Let's go live now to the Herald Sun's national weekend political editor, James Campbell. James, great to see you. A big day. What did you make of the two first election pitches by the Prime Minister and opposition leader?
More or less what you would have expected. We'd heard from Dutton last night, of course, with his fuel cut and gas reservation policy. Albo managed to slip in the news that will have shocked a lot of us, that he grew up in public housing with his mum. It was more or less what you would imagine. Prime Ministers always want to make it about the next 3 years, not the previous 3 years. Oppositions want to say it's the end of the world unless you get rid of the government. What happens from here is anyone's guess. I think it's going to be close, as everyone says. I think there is more potential downside on Dutton's side of the ledger at the moment for no other reason than we just don't know what Donald Trump's going to do. If Donald Trump goes bonkers on the tariffs between now and May, this could be a real opportunity for Albanese to play the strongman Prime Minister. And I think that's not going to be... I think that's something that everyone I speak to on the coalition side is very mindful of.
And is that, in two parts, James? One that gives Albanese a chance to counter one of his weaknesses as being perceived to be weak, and he can muscle up, so to speak, to our ally when they're treating us less than ideal, in a less than ideal manner. And then the other component is that just that broader thing that where there's uncertainty, instability, a bit of chaos, people gravitate to what they know and the incumbent.
Absolutely, yeah, I 100% agree. And you've stumbled across the way you formulated that sentence is the way I've been struggling to form it without using the word weakness twice. His weakness is his weakness, if that makes sense. He doesn't have to look that sort of tough to really improve a perception that people have of him, particularly amongst men, that he's just not a strong figure. And I agree too. People in situations in which there's an external threat, it's only natural that people will rally round the government or the leader. Whatever you personally think about Albanese, at that moment he becomes our guy in any conflict with the President of the United States. And that can only be to his advantage, I think, given the fact, there's an additional fact which is inescapable for Dutton, is that if Trump is perceived as an enemy of Australia and damaging Australia, there is no getting away from the fact that there are a lot of people in the coalition who like Trump. And those people, there's plenty of things that they're on the record as having said about Trump which could be extraordinarily embarrassing in a situation in which we were being targeted.
Yeah, and so there's that issue, and then underpinning really the politics of so much of where we are, as you rightly characterised it, or very predictable that they say, look to the 3 years ago, are you better than that? Better today than you were then? Most would say no. That's the opposition frame. The government saying we've turned the corner and it's your choice as to the future. We're going to improve from here. And so they're looking ahead. They're the two key differences. One's looking back, one's looking ahead, and it's who can be the most compelling in their case over the next 5 weeks.
100%. Dutton's task is in the next 5 weeks is to make people, he needs to show us how life's going to be better under him. If he can do that, then he's definitely in with the show. There's no question about that, because as every poll shows us, the public are not impressed with the performance of the government over the previous 3 years. At the moment, the only thing I think that's keeping the government in that is, apart from the fact that they're raining money down on us, is essentially people's fear of the kind of, I guess, the transaction cost, the risk of changing the government. But if Dutton can convince people that if he wins, life's going to be better under him, things could get ugly for the government. But I mean, I think that neither of those scenarios, blow out one way or the other, are the most likely. The most likely at this point is we're going to have a, close hand-to-hand combat across, 20, 30 seats, which outcomes could go skew in weird ways. We're going to have, I was looking at Tom's seats in contention. There are a couple there, I think, that he hasn't got that I reckon are also watchers, like Monash in Victoria. I'm told Russell Broadbent is polling very, very well down there. He's a decent chance to hold that with... there's a Teal down there with the Teal support and the Labor support. And even like in Victoria, because Labor is so on the nose, I'm told by quite confidently, and when I told this I nearly laughed, that the Liberals have been polling in the seat of Gorton, which is held by Brendan O'Connor, a seat that no one had on its radar. They came away from that experience, Liberals have told me, and they found that they are within, striking distance of taking Gorton. Now, if Gorton is in play in Victoria, everything is in play in Victoria. It's normally when you live down here, elections are won and lost in other places. It's going to be great living in Victoria this time as a political journalist. We're going to see more of the leaders here, I think, than we've seen in my political lifetime.